media city in line with rapid advancement of broadcasting technology. State governments allowed to purchase vaccines in line with PICK strategy. Hello and good evening. I'm Amin Carlos and this is News at 10. Radio Television Malaysia, RTM, celebrates Hari RTM today, the 1st of April, to commemorate its 75th year anniversary since its establishment in 1946. While throughout the years, RTM has withstood the test of time to stand before Malaysians as a reliable and most trusted news source accessible to all. RTM Broadcasting Director General Dato' Ruzain Idris describes technological advancements as a main driving force in the development of the national broadcasting system, bringing about changes to the working environments and processes as new breakthroughs are made.
Jadi kita sebagai syarikat ataupun badan penyiar kerajaan, mau tak mau, suka tak suka, kita juga harus mengikut arus perkembangan itu, teknologi itu. Jadi apa yang kita terpaksa buat ialah kita perlu mengikut dan kita perlu mengubah cara itu. Jadi dalam konteks ini, suka tak suka, kita kena upgrade lah studio kita, peralatan kita berdasarkan kemampuan yang kita ada itu supaya kita tidak tertinggalan berbanding dengan stesen-stesen yang lain.
Realizing this fact, RTM has even took the initiative to extend the available web streaming service into mobile streaming, allowing users to tune in to their favorite shows via the RTM MyClick app. Currently, RTM manages 6 television channels and 34 radio stations nationwide in full HD.
Dalam kandungan kita, memang kita produce everything semuanya dalam bentuk digital dan kita akan siapkan juga dalam bentuk digital insyaAllah. Yang fasiliti kita pun kita dah upgrade untuk memenuhi keperluan.
The transformation comes at the right time, especially at a time when the country is facing the COVID-19 pandemic and a reliable news source is needed more than ever. According to legendary broadcaster Dato' Harjit Singh Hullan, RTM was given the honor as the most reliable news channel according to a research.
And not that other channels are not trusted in whatever news reports they carry out. RTM being the most trusted news channel is based on a research done by a company which has then put RTM as the #1 and the most trusted news channel in the country. RTM did not make a claim. It was given to us based on a research done by this company, research company.
Across over 7 decades, RTM has overcome many challenges by evolving to meet the needs of Malaysians nationwide. It is a trusted news source throughout multiple generations and is here to stay alongside the people as a resilient, adaptable and constantly evolving media channel for the benefit of all.
So 75 years, I think it's already testimony of RTM's ability to even further improve itself. So the challenges that RTM is going to face in the next coming years will not be a problem for RTM because its 75 years is proven of its ability to adapt to technological, digital challenges and advancement. So trust RTM, it will be able to overcome any challenges even for the next 75 years to come.
Well, RTM, which has operated for over 7 decades, must continue creating milestones in the national broadcasting and media production industry and being bold in making changes so that its services will remain fresh and relevant. In making this call, Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said RTM should be prepared to change in line with the current development and advancement of technology while creating more success stories to bring the Malaysian Broadcasting Department to greater heights.
Harapan saya agar RTM tidak gentar untuk membawa perubahan dalam era revolusi industri 4.0 dan terus memandang ke hadapan di samping menggunakan kepakaran yang ditimba daripada pengalaman lalu untuk senantiasa menambah baik perkhidmatan, membangun perkhidmatan baru serta melestarikan perkhidmatannya. Saya rumuskan fahaman saya mengenai perkhidmatan RTM sebegini: creating milestones atau mencipta tonggak pencapaian dalam industri penyiaran dan perkhidmatan negara termasuk industri kreatif.
The Premier said this in a virtual speech in conjunction with the RTM's 75th anniversary and RTM Orchestra's 60th anniversary celebrations today. The celebration held at Angkasa Puri was attended by Communications and Multimedia Minister Dato' Saifuddin Abdullah. Tan Sri Muhyiddin also congratulated Orkes RTM for its 60th year of anniversary this year and wished the orchestra to stay dynamic and productive. Well, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin opined the project to upgrade Angkasa Puri Broadcasting Complex into a media city is in line with the rapid advancement of the broadcasting technology and the international digital broadcasting standards. Well, he said once completed, the project, which is being implemented as a joint venture between the government and the private sector, will provide a high-tech, state-of-the-art broadcasting infrastructure in accordance with the government's aspiration to develop digital television broadcasting services. Tan Sri Muhyiddin said the development of the media city is also consistent with the RTM transformation plan, which focuses on the development and optimal utilization of RTM media platforms to effectively achieve the department's mission and vision.
Saya percaya pelan ini akan memberikan manfaat yang besar bukan sahaja pada organisasi, malahan pada industri kreatif tempatan. Antara lain, ia akan menawarkan pemantapan kandungan di saluran-saluran TV, penyegaran penyampaian di medium radio dan pemerkasaan media baru untuk memupuk dan menambah kesetiaan dalam kalangan audiens.
He said this in a speech delivered virtually in conjunction with the 75th anniversary of RTM and 60th anniversary of RTM Orchestra today. And in conjunction with RTM's 75th anniversary, another historic chapter is written in our books tonight as we have a guest presenter for the following stories, the living legend, Dato' Harjit Singh Harlan.
Thank you very much, Carlos. State governments will be allowed to purchase COVID-19 vaccines in line with the main strategy of the National COVID-19 Immunization Program, PICK, which is to inoculate as many Malaysians as possible. PICK Coordinating Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said he will be meeting with Mentris Besar and Chief Ministers of each state to discuss the matter.
Saya akan maklum pada Ketua Menteri nanti, of course, kalau kerajaan negeri boleh source vaksin, it's good because kita nak cepatkan, kita nak seramai mungkin dapat beli vaksin kalau boleh. Tapi seperti mana yang saya maklum pada Menteri Besar Selangor hari itu, saya tahu pasarannya sebab I've been doing this since last year for the federal government and there simply is not enough supply.
Meanwhile, a total of 7,501,094 individuals, or 30.92% of Malaysia's population, have registered for the PICK, with Selangor recording the highest number with 2,055,553 registrations. As of yesterday, a total of 215,395 individuals in the first phase of the program have completed receiving both doses of their vaccine shots. In a social media post, Health Minister Dato' Sri Dr. Adam Baba said 482,808 individuals had received the first dose during the same period, bringing the total number of doses administered so far to 698,203. With the first phase nearing its completion, the PICK will continue with its second phase, which is expected to begin this month until August this year, involving 9.4 million senior citizens aged 60 and above, as well as the vulnerable groups with morbidity problems, as well as persons with disabilities. The third phase, scheduled from May to February 2022, is for individuals aged 80 and above, targeting about 14 million people. In another related development, Tan Sri Muhyiddin said he was satisfied with the current implementation of the national COVID-19 immunization program. The government aims to inoculate at least 80% of the adult population, or equivalent to 26.5 million individuals, free of charge by February 2022.
Sehingga 28 Mac yang lalu, seramai 7.2 juta rakyat Malaysia telah mendaftar untuk pengambilan vaksin melalui aplikasi MySejahtera. Manakala jumlah pemberian dos vaksin COVID-19 di seluruh negara setakat ini ialah 580,765 dos, termasuk dos pertama dan juga kedua telah pun dapat kita laksanakan. Fasa pertama program imunisasi ini telah pun giat dijalankan semenjak bulan Februari yang lalu yang melibatkan para petugas barisan hadapan.
Malaysia recorded 1,178 new COVID-19 infections in the last 24 hours, bringing the total cumulative infections to 346,678 cases since the pandemic struck the country. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said Selangor and Sarawak recorded the most infections with 237 and 238 fresh infections respectively. In a statement, Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham also reported that another 1,377 patients were treated and discharged, bringing the total number of recoveries made in the country to 331,001. With this, the number of active COVID-19 cases stands at 14,399, with 163 patients currently being treated at the ICU, with 81 of them requiring ventilator support. The Health DG also reported that the death toll rose to 1,278 after 6 fatalities were recorded today. Meanwhile, the number of active COVID-19 clusters dropped to 362 after 14 declared as inactive, and another 6 new ones emerged in Selangor, Johor, Pulau Pinang and Pahang. 5 of the new clusters were categorized as workplace clusters, with the other as a community cluster. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham also reported that the Health Ministry has discovered the presence of the South African variant B1.351 in Malaysia, first identified in 4 local cases in March 2021. He said the Health Ministry will continue to be wary and implement strategies to curb the spread of any new variant, thus eradicating COVID-19 infections in the country. Next, empowering public sector, an important agenda of Perikatan Nasional. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, together with his wife Puan Sri Noraini Abdul Rahman, arrived at the Kuching International Airport to begin his 2-day working visit to Sarawak. The aircraft carrying the Prime Minister's delegation touched down at 9:37 a.m. Our reporter in Kuching, Eric Christopher, has the details. Over to you, Eric.
Thank you, Angkasapuri. I am currently at the Sarawak State Assembly Complex, where the Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Mohamad Yassin earlier this evening had attended a special dinner hosted by the state government in conjunction with his maiden visit to Sarawak as Prime Minister. Now, prior to the dinner, the Prime Minister also had a special meeting with the Chief Minister of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg. Now, the Prime Minister's 2 days working visit to Sarawak began earlier today when he and his wife, Puan Sri Noraini Abdul Rahman, arrived at the Kuching International Airport at 9:37 this morning. Now, soon after, he also attended a special briefing hosted by the state government before meeting with 200 civil servants. Now, in the afternoon, the Prime Minister and his wife also made a special courtesy call on the Governor, Tun Pehin Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud, at his residence in Demak Jaya before paying a visit to Kuching COVID-19 vaccination centre at Stadium Perpaduan Negeri Petrajaya. Now, before concluding his first day visit to Sarawak here at the State Assembly complex this evening, the Prime Minister also met a few meetings with community leaders at a special town hall session at the Borneo Convention Centre, Kuching. Now, tomorrow, Prime Minister is expected to visit Samarhan district, where he will also attend several sessions with the community before heading back to Moratuang for Friday prayers, as well as a special luncheon with GPS and PN leaders here in Kuching. Tan Sri Muhyiddin will then conclude his two-day visit to Sarawak after having a look at the upgrading works at the Sarawak General Hospital tomorrow afternoon. The Prime Minister and his wife will then be expected to fly back from Kuching to Kuala Lumpur at 4:30 p.m. tomorrow. Well, that concludes my report from Kuching, Sarawak. This is Eric Christopher. It's back to the studio in Angkasa Puri.
Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin has reiterated that one of the main agendas advocated by the Perikatan Nasional, or PN government, is ensuring people-friendly and efficient civil services. He said coherent services will allow for information and resources to be channeled more effectively to the targeted recipients.
Tumpuan harus juga diberikan pada usaha untuk mengurangkan kekangan birokrasi, supaya kita dapat membantu segenap lapisan masyarakat, khususnya di kawasan-kawasan luar bandar. Sebagai contohnya, di pihak berkuasa tempatan ataupun PBT, mana-mana peraturan yang didapati tidak lagi berkesan, wajar diteliti semula dan ditambah baik. Kita harus permudahkan lagi proses permohonan bantuan kepada rakyat.
Recognizing the importance of civil services as a catalyst in new mobilizations in digital fields, the government is committed to spearheading the digital transformation towards the fourth industrial revolution. For this purpose, the Digital Economy Council was established along with the Malaysia Digital Economy Blueprint. This involves efforts in ensuring 100% digitally proficient civil servants and 80% government services available online by 2025. Police have submitted an application to include fugitive businessman Dato Sri Niki Leow Soon Hee in the International Criminal Police Organizations or Interpol wanted list. Johor Police Chief Dato Ayub Khan Maidin Piche said police did not rule out the possibility that Leow would attempt to leave the country illegally to escape arrest. Dato Ayub said police have not established his whereabouts yet, but as a precautionary measure, they have issued a notice for his arrest at all legal and illegal exits in the country. He said it is believed that the 33-year-old suspect is still hiding in the Klang Valley, but police cannot ignore his attempts of trying to escape from Malaysia.
Dia ni banyak, dia punya rangkaian kerja dia memang luas. Dia banyak mendapat bantuan, macam saya katakanlah. Banyak bantuan-bantuan, dia ada connection dengan agensi pegawai dan anggota agensi penguatkuasa. Dia ada kaitan dengan individu-individu berpengaruh.
He said this after a town hall program at the Tun Hussein On Teachers Education Campus Institute in Batu Pahat today. Earlier, Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Abdul Hamid Bado said police have crippled an international organized crime group, Gang Niki, believed to be involved in Macau scams and money laundering activities. A total of 68 people were arrested and cash and assets worth millions of ringgit seized in 70 raids around Selangor and the Klang Valley recently. Next in our foreign segment, Southern California shooting leaves 4 dead. Thailand's foreign ministry said it was gravely troubled by casualties during weekend unrest in Myanmar and called for utmost restraint and an end to the violence. In some of the strongest comments yet by Myanmar's neighbor, Tani called for a de-escalation of the situation and added that the country is working with other Southeast Asian countries for a peaceful solution.
WHO. Regarding the recent situation in Myanmar, Thailand is gravely troubled by the reports of more casualties among the Myanmar people. During this past weekend, we reiterate our call for the exercise of utmost restraint, de-escalation of situation, end to violence, and further release of detainees.
ASEAN, of which Myanmar is a member, has a pledge not to interfere in each other's affairs, but led by Indonesia, some countries have been actively pushing diplomatic efforts to defuse the crisis. Still, the military has up to now appeared impervious to outside pressure. According to the Assistance Associations for Political Prisoners, at least 536 civilians have been killed in protests, 141 of them on Saturday, the bloodiest day of the unrest. 7 prominent Hong Kong Democrats were found guilty today of unauthorized assembly, including media tycoon Jimmy Lai and the father of democracy, Martin Lee. The group, including Leong Kwok Hung, Lee Chok Yan, Sid Ho, Margaret Ng and Albert Ho, were accused of participating in an unauthorized assembly on 12th and 18th August 2019, when Hong Kong was embroiled in months of anti-government protests. The defense team says that freedom of assembly is protected under Hong Kong's constitution and that authorities had approved a demonstration which then grew into unauthorized march. The prosecution also argued that freedom of assembly, what granted in the constitution, was not absolute in Hong Kong. The group of 7 will be sentenced at a later date. Some of them are also facing other charges, including under the Beijing-imposed national security law, which was introduced in response to 2019's mass protests and carries severe penalties, including long prison terms. After waves of pro-democracy protests, Beijing is increasingly cracking down on the city's rights and freedoms. China had earlier this week passed sweeping changes to Hong Kong's electoral rules, which will allow prospective MPs to first be vetted by a pro-Beijing committee. Police in the Californian city of Orange reported a shooting with multiple victims at the scene, including fatalities. And local news media outlets said 4 people were killed before a suspect was arrested. Few official details of the violence in the city south of Los Angeles were immediately available, but the Los Angeles City News Service, or CNS, and television station KNBC-TV reported that in addition to the 4 dead, 2 people were wounded by gunfire. Reporting the incident on its official Facebook page, the Orange Police Department said its officers arrived at about 5:30 p.m. local time as shots were being fired and located multiple victims at the scene, including fatalities. The police statement said an officer-involved shooting had occurred and that the situation had since been stabilized with no further threat to the public. KNBC-TV reported the shooting erupted at a business complex in Orange, a city about 30 miles southeast of downtown Los Angeles. The television station and CNS also reported that the dead included a child, while various news outlets also reported that the shooter was among those injured. The violence marked the 3rd deadly mass shooting in the United States over the past 2 weeks. 8 people were shot to death by a gunman who went on a rampage at 3 Days Pass at the Atlanta area on March 16th, while 10 people were killed on 22nd March when a man opened fire at a supermarket in Boulder, Colorado. The lone suspects in both those shootings were arrested.
RTM Sports Channel, a platform to unite people. Well, the newly launched RTM Sports Channel serves as a platform to unite the people. And Communications and Multimedia Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah said the launch of this channel is in line with Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin's statement that sports can be an avenue for uniting the people, regardless of race and religion.
Memang sesungguhnya saya fikir ini satu-satunya aktiviti yang apabila berlaku kejohanan-kejohanan utama, seluruh negara tanpa mengira bangsa dan agama ada masa siap pakai jersey, ada masa siap mengibar bendera. Walaupun kat rumah sendiri, ini adalah saat di mana tiba-tiba saja satu negara boleh, bukanlah sepi, maksudnya duduk di depan TV menyokong pasukan Malaysia. Jadi di situ kita saksikan ya perpaduan. Ini tak perlu ada ucapan-ucapan ni ya. Perpaduan kemudian semangat patriotik. Jadi saluran sukan pada saya sangat mustahak.
The minister said this after the launch of RTM's 75th anniversary and RTM Orchestra's 60th anniversary celebrations today. At the ceremony, Datuk Saifuddin also launched the 24-hour RTM Sports Channel, which kicked off today.
And that's it from us this evening. In our top story, Media City in line with rapid advancement of broadcasting technology. Join us for updates at noon at 12:30 tomorrow. Together with Muhammad Amin Carlos, I'm Dato' Harujit Singh Halan. Thanks for watching.
Bersama, melukis namanya setiap masa di mana.